The desire for public validation is as old as civilization itself. From the time humans gathered in tribes and formed societies, the urge to be seen, appreciated, and recognized by others has lived at the core of human behavior. In ancient marketplaces, among forums of debate, and in royal courts, individuals strove not only for survival but also for acclaim. The applause of the crowd, the nod of approval from a ruler, or the envy of peers was a currency of its own, an invisible reward that dictated how many lived their lives. It was in this environment that Stoic philosophy arose, offering a counterpoint to the chaos of external praise and condemnation. The Stoics, notably figures like Epictetus, Marcus Aurelius, and Seneca, challenged the idea that a good life depended on others' approval. They taught that true peace and contentment came not from the shifting winds of public opinion, but from the cultivation of inner virtue. To them, the only thing worth striving for was alignment with nature and reason. Everything else, wealth, fame, reputation, was indifferent, neither good nor bad in itself. It was the attachment to these externals that caused suffering. Epictetus, once a slave, knew well the brutality of being at the mercy of others. His discourses and the Enchiridion are filled with reminders that we do not control what others think of us. He wrote, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." For the Stoic, it was better to live in accordance with virtue and be misunderstood than to win applause for something superficial. This is the earliest resistance to the craving for public validation, a firm stand against the tyranny of external judgment. Seneca, a statesman and philosopher, addressed the dangers of seeking fame. Though he himself was deeply entrenched in politics, he warned against allowing reputation to dictate one's decisions. He observed how easily people sacrifice their peace for the approval of others. "What matters most," he said, "is not what others think of you, but what you think of yourself." To Seneca, living by principle meant that you might stand alone, even be ridiculed. But this was a small price to pay for integrity. Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king, offers perhaps the most poignant reflections on the futility of public validation. In his private journals, never meant for publication, he reminded himself repeatedly that fame is fleeting. He observed how even the greatest men are forgotten in a generation or two, how the praise of the crowd is inconsistent, and how the approval of others cannot make a wicked act just, nor a just act wicked. His words are soaked with the weariness of one who knows that the emperor's crown cannot shield the soul from emptiness. Yet Marcus struggled. Despite his wisdom, he felt the pull of recognition, the weight of duty, the awareness that others looked to him. But it is in this struggle that his Stoicism is most beautiful, not in perfect detachment, but in the daily work of reminding himself what truly matters. "Do not waste what remains of your life in speculating about others," he wrote, "unless you are doing so with a view to some mutual benefit." Fast forward to the modern world, and the desire for public validation has not only survived, it has evolved and multiplied. Where once applause came in town halls and palaces, now it flows in the form of likes, retweets, comments, and shares. Social media platforms have created a digital coliseum where millions enter daily to perform, hoping for the roar of approval. The result is a society deeply addicted to external affirmation, often at the cost of internal peace. This craving has shaped everything: our careers, our relationships, our sense of self. People curate their lives online, carefully selecting what to show, often measuring their worth by numbers on a screen. The Stoic warning rings louder than ever: if you let others decide your value, you have given away the only thing you truly possess, your mind. The psychological toll is evident. Studies link excessive social media use to anxiety, depression, and low self-esteem. The highs of public praise are brief and shallow, the lows of rejection, comparison, and invisibility are deep. The more we chase approval, the more elusive it becomes, like drinking salt water to quench thirst. Yet society continues to celebrate fame, visibility, and validation. Even acts of kindness are now often performed for the camera, not for conscience. But how do we overcome this, especially when modern life seems built around it? The Stoics provide a blueprint. First, we must become aware of the distinction between what is in our control and what is not. Others' opinions fall squarely into the category of what we cannot control. No matter how well we behave, how honest we are, how thoughtful, we cannot dictate how others see us. Some will misunderstand, some will dislike us, some will project their fears or envy onto us. The wise person learns to let this go. Second, we practice inner evaluation over outer validation. Instead of asking, "What will people think?" we ask, "Is this the right thing to do?" Stoicism encourages us to live according to reason, justice, courage, and temperance. These are values no one can take from us. When our actions stem from these principles, we can sleep peacefully regardless of applause or criticism. Third, we embrace solitude. The Stoics valued time alone with one's thoughts. Marcus Aurelius often retreated into himself amidst the chaos of ruling an empire. Today, solitude is rare and uncomfortable, but it is in solitude that we reclaim our thoughts, silence the noise, and rediscover what we truly believe. It's where we stop performing and start being. Fourth, we examine our desires. Why do we want to be praised? What are we hoping it will give us? Often the answer is security, love, belonging, or worth. But these cannot be sustainably supplied by others. They must come from within, from a steady confidence that we are enough, that we are striving toward virtue, even if no one notices. The Stoics also teach us to anticipate misjudgment and prepare for it. This is the practice of premeditatio malorum, to imagine what could go wrong, not to dwell in fear, but to steel the mind. If someone speaks ill of us, misrepresents our intentions, or mocks us, we can recall the Stoic view: such things say more about the speaker than about us. Modern cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, which draws from Stoic ideas, offers practical tools. One such tool is questioning our thoughts. When we feel anxious about others' opinions, we can ask, is it true? Is this thought helpful? What evidence do I have? This method, like Stoicism, shifts us from emotional reactivity to rational clarity. Let us consider the ancient mythologies and teachings that parallel Stoic resistance to external praise. In Eastern traditions, especially in Hinduism and Buddhism, we see a similar theme. The Bhagavad Gita teaches karma yoga, to act without attachment to results. This is deeply Stoic in spirit. To act rightly, not for fame or fear, but because it is right. In Zen Buddhism, practitioners meditate on non-attachment, including the attachment to reputation. A Zen master is not moved by praise or blame. His focus is inward, his measure of success invisible to the world. These traditions echo the Stoic call: your worth is not up for public vote. Even in Christianity, Jesus warns against practicing righteousness to be seen by others. When you give to the needy, he says, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing. The idea is clear: true virtue does not advertise itself. Public validation, then, is a temptation across ages and cultures. But it is not irresistible. Those who cultivate their character find that the need for applause withers. In its place grows a quieter, sturdier satisfaction, the kind that stays even when the room is empty. In everyday life, overcoming the hunger for validation requires conscious practice. Begin by limiting exposure to environments that fuel the need for approval. Spend less time on platforms designed to trigger comparison. Set boundaries around your digital presence. Recognize that not everything needs to be shared. Some joys are richer in privacy. Choose friends who value who you are, not who you appear to be. Seek mentors who challenge your integrity, not just your image. And above all, return regularly to reflection. Journaling, meditation, quiet walks, these are the tools that center us. If ever you find yourself chasing validation, pause and ask, if no one saw me do this, would I still do it? Let that be your compass. Let your conscience be louder than the crowd. The Stoics did not promise popularity, they promised peace. Not applause, but authenticity. They taught that we are born with all we need to live well, that within us is a citadel, a sacred space untouched by fortune, fame, or failure. To live from that space is to be truly free. In a world clamoring for attention, there is great strength in being quietly virtuous. In a culture that teaches us to chase followers, there is rebellion in becoming your own leader. This is the Stoic path. It may not fill stadiums, but it fills the soul, and in the end that is what matters most. So walk quietly, act rightly, think deeply. The world may never cheer, but your soul will know its worth.